This profile is basically just an evil elf.
Which
And you
is
turn this
good.
player. Yeah, the elves are really good. So
Welcome everyone to another Into the West video. I'm Charles. With me today are Richard and Ian, and we're here to talk about some exciting news, some big news this week. We finally have news of the third book and the match play guide.
We're back, baby. We're back. Classic.
The game is not dead, confirmed.
it's been 87 years.
Yeah, that was brutal. Wasn't there an article that said Q1 2025? Oof. I mean, I'm just glad we hit Q2.
You know what? I if that was the original intent and they delayed it so they could like balance stuff, I'm happy. Like I'm fine with that.
No,
But
I wanted Q1 and balance.
if it releases and it's like this late and it is like a bunch of imbalanced stuff, it's gonna be like, the worst of both.
Yeah.
Then we'll just have to wait for the August FAQ, right? So we're here today to talk about there are actually two Warhammer community articles this week, and we'll just be giving our thoughts and breaking them down. All right, so Armies of Middle-earth. So it's going to contain 130 unit entry profiles, 28 army lists, and this supplement updates a huge variety of classic miniatures for the new edition of the game, and can be used alongside Armies of Lord of the Rings, Armies of the Hobbit, to further expand upon your list building options. Yeah.
In the preview article a few months back, did they list out all 20 armies?
Think so?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 for good, and
Yeah, probably
8,
14.
9,
Okay,
10,
so
11. Yeah, so they
Hmm.
did give
okay,
all of
so
them.
so old
Yeah,
news.
because we were speculating about Amherst grief or whatever it's called.
hmm
And then pre-order will be physical hardback and also digital. And then we have match play guide, which it's confirmed that there will be 24 scenarios, six of them being brand new. So we'll have the 18 from last edition and then six new ones.
I know some people were speculating from the language in the past whether those extra six were double scenarios and we were still going to be at 18, but it's exciting that it's going to be 24 singles.
Yes, because here it says six additional double scenarios. So it's 24 for normal competitive play.
Which is like an insane amount of variance you have to like account for in a like scenario bracket. Like if you're just randomly rolling at a tournament, that's crazy. If it's not veto.
Yeah. It's lucky we have like a base to build on. I assume like 18 of them are going to be pretty similar. So we're only really learning six new ones. I can just imagine the new players coming into this game, 24 new scenarios to learn. Like, good luck. Get
And
your
they
games in.
yeah, they all have like four or five things you need to keep track of now too. It used to be like three, maybe
Yeah.
four. So it's a lot of stuff to remember.
And then a day later, we got a second article, and this is the designer's notes. So there are a few profiles that are teased in the Armies of Middle-earth book. We're just going to break those down now.
Hell yeah, let's do this.
As it was previewed before, these are going to be characters that were not found in the movies, where the first two books were like movie profiles. It includes over 130 profiles. Jay has picked top five profile changes to give us examples of what's to come. So the first one is Prince Imrahil.
With the spicy new model.
Yeah, looking forward to that. So a few big changes here, right? So we have his base points changed a lot.
140 to 160, I think base.
Yeah.
Fight 6 to fight 7. And then intelligence 3, that's a new stat, but like that's a very good intelligence. So we'll see how, important that is, but that's a very strong number. Guai here intelligence.
Yeah.
Smart as a crow.
Giant bird, actually. Excuse you.
He's kept the double standfast, but his banner effect seems to reduce to 6 inches and change to Domroth keyword only.
Mhm. I don't think anybody's surprised by that. Like they got rid of all the other 12-inch effects, and probably for good reason, right? Like a 12-inch radius is insane. Like it's battlefield wide basically. So not surprised by that. Fight seven, also not super surprised by that. Kind of felt like that one was coming. So that's good. The points increase I feel like is a little high, just because he's also paying for like the extra horse cost now. So 190 fully kitted feels like a lot with only the 6 inch. I mean, only the 6 inch banner. But I think it'll depend on what army list he's in. And even if he is overcosted, it's not by much, maybe like 10 points. So I think in all the armies he's going to be in, the army bonuses or whatever you get is going to make up for that. So it'll probably be fine, but we'll see.
Yeah, I've already seen some online discussions arguing whether he's overcosted or under. It's hard because he was undercosted last edition. I think like stat for stat, he's maybe a little bit overcosted if you're comparing to like Isildur or Erner, like similar like fighty stats. It really comes down to how he is in the armies that he's in the bonuses because that's what it seems like these armies are built around these days, especially like a centerpiece model like Imrahil. So it's hard to base it just on his stat line. But speaking of his stat line, his heroic actions are great.
The resolve and strength getting better is just really good for him. There, I think it's really going to hinge on how good the Dol Amroth Knights are, or if they're super overcosted, and whatever else gets the Dol Amroth keyword. Because if you're paying 190 and it only if that banner effect only affects like three knights you're gonna take in your list, then he's overcosted. If you're gonna have like a warband full of knights, then it's probably fine. But you're not gonna want to do that if they're still like 20 or 20 something points, right?
He does have the same heroics as last edition, but the resolve is very different now, right? So you're gonna more likely to use it than before.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean strength too. You're doubling your strength, going to strength 8 with a lance, if you really need to kill something. That's pretty
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah. Next, we have the Khazad Guard. So they've gone up 1 point base. They used to be 11, and now they have fight 5.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, 1 point, that's usually pretty decent value, especially with less warriors being Fight 5, as we know currently. There's a few Fight 5 armies that are no longer Fight 5 armies, but
Yeah.
you know, the first dwarf warriors getting Fight 5, I believe.
It would be easier to rate them if we knew the context of like
Yeah.
what the list is going to look like our Hearthguard going to be the same where they just gain Burly. And then
Which
also,
would be even
Oh,
better, right? You get a Fight
yeah,
5 Burly for one more point, like
I think it
or two more points, but still, yeah, it's
that would be really. I mean, 14 points for like a basic troop. That's a lot, right?
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, you take. I mean, you take that any day of the week, and I know people advocated for that before when they were 13 points with the Burly right in Fight Four. So, like, it still makes sense that you'd still do that. But
Hmm.
I think what's really going to be interesting is who can actually lead these guys because they do have the elite keyword. So, you know, generic dwarf kings probably Durin, yeah.
yeah,
I don't know if they're
Balin?
doing a Ballin's one. Didn't Ballin get legacy?
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
and King's
on.
Champion. So the
Yeah.
list might look really different, right?
So it really depends on how they handle the elite keyword. I mean, if there's like, is it like the Denethor way where it's only one hero can lead them, or is it going to be like the Rohan way where it's like, well, everybody can lead Royal Guard anyway, so who cares?
I think it's an interesting change, but again, we'll have to see with the army bonuses. But it's hard to see Khazad being like a super dominant force in this edition if they still don't have spears, still don't have cavalry, and they lost the King's Champion, right? Unless somehow their heroes are just like the best costed heroes in the game, like you see Durin at like 100 points, then we're gonna all bow down. But yeah,
I think maybe with these guys going to fight 5, they'll change, assuming like the basic warrior stays the same. it'll change these guys' role, right? Because before it's like you can pay more for this guy, or you can just spam out the basic warriors who are also fight 4 and also D7.
I think you're still going to see people playing mass armies of these guys. I don't think that's going to change much. Like the fight five is just it's so attractive, right? That's
Hmm.
so good.
Yeah, I'm also wondering if Iron Guard will get that fight 5 because if they don't, then it
Eh,
these
I
other
think
guys are
we'll
way
see.
better.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I hope the Iron Guard maybe probably don't get fight five and maybe drop to like 13 points.
Mm,
That would keep them interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. Go for the attacks or the fight value. You probably then want to mix and match because then if you can tag into a combat one each, then you're getting like three attacks at fight five.
Small thing to note is the change to two-handed weapons, where like before, if you weren't taking Hearthguard, I don't know if you guys ever went two-handed with these guys, but generally, I think I always went one-handed. So
Yeah.
that's a nice little buff, right?
Depends on how common banners are in the list. Like if Dern becomes a banner and maybe another hero becomes a banner and you can just also buy one, then you might two-hand a lot more if you can throw the extra dice or get the reroll. But I don't know, without the King's Champion in there giving all those rerolls.
Okay, on to Tom and Goldberry. So they've always been tricky profiles due to their nature within the stories. This edition, they no longer have a control zone, which means they can no longer block off parts of the battle line. No more cheesing with them.
Wow. Really is the end of an era.
They now can't cast magical powers. Instead, they both use their will points to sing a variety of songs. Each of these songs has its own unique effect, from allowing models to pass courage tests, increase their move value, regain lost wounds, improve their fight value in the turn in which they charge, and more. They have distinct songs that only they can sing, meaning there is a real reason to want to include both in your army list. I mean, that
So
last part is nice because you almost never saw Goldberry, right? Because they did the exact same thing, except you need Tom first, and you rarely get up to high enough points where you would take them both.
I mean, they're probably going to be fine, whatever list they're in. You can still do the annoying thing that like Grima can do now, where you just like base block, you just sit them in front of somebody and just go, you can't go anywhere because I'm in the way, even without the control zone, right? So it's like it's way less significant than it was before, but they can still block a gap pretty handily. But I don't think it's going to really matter because the army list they're going to be in is probably not going to be that good.
Wait, hang on. Are they going to be en road to Rivendell? Because that's when they appeared in the book.
Maybe, yeah.
Because
Then,
that list is a meme right now, right? It's not really not
but
a super good list.
if you have a souped up Aragorn and a souped up Arwen, with these two just boosting them a bunch, maybe it becomes kind of playable. But I think it's yeah, at the points value you're going to need to afford all of that. It's going to be at least what like 600 points probably. I
Hmm. Hmm.
think it's probably fine in that list, even if they are kind of ridiculous because
It's
that's
like
like an
it's
all
all
hero list.
hero list, right? Next, we have the dragon. So the first things players will notice is that dragons have had a points drop to 200 points and are now on 130 millimeter round bases. They're inherently smart creatures and now have an intelligence of 5 plus and a fight value of 8 now. They have dominant 5 and large target. The biggest change comes with the option that can be taken to upgrade them. So Breathe Fire no longer requires will to use. Worm Magic now grants the foil magical power in addition to its previous effects. And then there is a new option called Superior Intellect, where they'll pass any intelligence tests required to take, as well as every time they spend a might point on a 4 plus, that point of might is free.
Funny enough, they don't list fly. So I'm wondering if that comes with the 200 package. I mean, that would make them pretty good with all the
Uh,
other boosts.
yeah.
It doesn't list the armor either, right? Tough
Tough
hide.
hide.
Yeah.
Mm.
No.
Hmm.
But they could have just gotten rid of the
I
tough
think
hide too, and then just
I think they're just listing the changes, the ones that actually changed.
hmm,
Like,
maybe.
because like dropping down to 200 and getting 12-inch fly,
Yeah,
um,
that's like
like
100
that's like
points. Yeah.
100. Yeah, that's a crazy decrease. And like we said, last edition they needed to kind of decrease like that, but not like both of those. That's crazy.
Okay,
Um,
fine.
but the points drop to 200 is a good thing, I think. But it's also they're still taking the nerf of getting the 130 millimeter round base. Like that takes up so much more area on the table, right? Still probably a net bonus to them just on their base profile, though, getting the fight value boost and the Dom 5. Like
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah.
Which
And I
is
would
kind of
say the upgrades, the main one I'm seeing, I think the superior intellect, it kind of looks okay. Well, again, we have to see what intelligence tests are used for, but 5 plus is already kind of solid. 4 plus might, it's like the Earl the Young and that kind of rule, which I'm kind of sometimes it pops off, but I'm just not a huge fan because it can be unreliable, right? It's okay. I
feel
don't know
like
about 50 points. Like how many might do you have to regen to make that worth it, right?
Unless they're not all going to be 50 points, then you can argue if it's cheaper, but it's definitely not as good as breathing fire every turn.
Yeah, so I think the main thing is how good breathing fire is. It's like if it stays similar or the same and you could do it every turn, it's going to be gross.
yeah. I don't know though, because it just says on 4 plus on every might point spent. So that's just constantly every time you spend one, you get a chance to do it right. So it's not just like
But he's going to be 3 might max.
yeah, but it doesn't it's not 3 might. If you go on the first one, you get a free one, then you still have 3 might you can spend to get it, right? You still have
Yes.
three guaranteed three
So,
more
so
chances.
you're like on average going to get like maybe a little less than 2. I don't know the math, 1.8, 1.9.
Yeah.
I guess that's
And
good,
if you
but is
get like
that worth 50
one,
points?
but that's the thing is like I agree with you because it's such a small amount of dice you're gonna end up rolling for it. If you get like a small spike and you get like 4 out of 6 4 pluses, you're gonna be like, this is an amazing upgrade. I love this, right? But if you
Yeah.
get the opposite of that, you're gonna be like, this upgrade's shit. I hate it.
But that's usually the thing for like competitive play, right? If you're at a tournament, especially a Middle Earth tournament, and you're going for the win, you don't want to drop one game, and if you drop two, your run is really over, right? So it's like, do you really
But
want to gamble that and have 2 games where you're spending 50 points and you don't get any might back?
I agree, but I would also debatable point for sure. But if it's a might point on a big monster like this, is probably worth a lot more than a might point on another hero that can regen, right? Like threatening an extra hurl combat on a fight 8 thing that with 5 attacks on the charge that can knock down stuff, right? That's huge.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean because it's like if Guai had like 5 might,
Yeah,
right? It'd be,
like that'd be
but
insane, right? So
yeah, yeah,
I
I get
agree. It's
it.
really hard to balance it. And also I'm assuming it is 50 points, right? If
Yeah,
it's for some reason less than 50 points, then I think you take it. It's much more attractive, right? But
10 points, deal. I'll do it.
holy shit. I think at 30 points you take it every time. 50 is where it's debatable, but it kind of depends on the rest of the list too, or if it's awkward to build or not.
Yeah.
Going to be a fun model though, or at first, until
Well,
people are sick of playing it.
yeah. Till every table is dragons versus eagles.
Yeah. Because the Dragon Army list, it sounds like you can potentially build like a Dragon Army, like a all dragon list. That's going to be hard to maneuver, all being on these massive bases.
Yeah,
Time
but
to
you're only gonna have like 3 models tops, right?
Yeah.
time to build and paint a How to Train Your Dragons army.
Make sure you keep those model minimums in lists, people, when you're running tournaments. Model minimums.
Okay. Next we have the Black Dragon Warrior, which looks like its own profile instead of being like an upgraded Easterling. So yeah, there'll be base 10 points, still have the fight 4. I guess the difference I'm seeing, it's a halberd instead of a pike.
Mm, which is better. This is better. So
Yeah. They still have phalanx and they have warrior of the dragon cult. Yeah.
So I guess you can argue whether this 3 inch +1 fight value bubble is better than the old one. Like the old last edition was 6 inches around the Dragon Emperor. Now it's 3 inches, but all your Black Dragon heroes. So you could spread it around more.
I
But
think
then
it's
again, a 6 inch bubble is technically more than double size of a
yeah,
3 inch one, right? So
yeah. Because our Black Dragon Knights are they still? They're still alive, right? They're not. They weren't like
the Dragon Knights, yes,
the
the
Dragon
Dragon
Knights.
Knights are still in.
So I mean, a couple of them in Amber, who's like way cheaper, and you can have fight five across the whole board essentially, right? If you're spreading out on like multiple fronts, that's pretty good.
This means that AMDR lists will be a thing again.
Yes, yes. Bring our boy back to relevance. But it is interesting that this is no longer tied to the Dragon Emperor. So, do we think that he's just going to be the same points cost, but a 6 inch banner and no fight value buff then?
Yeah, it'd be interesting what they do with the Dragon Emperor. I'm actually hoping they do a whole turnaround with him where perhaps he does get some still pretty good like support rules, but then he's not like a combat monster, while
Mm.
he's riding the Palanquin, because that just never made sense to me that he's like a
Yeah,
better fighter than most like hitters, and he's this huge like support piece. So
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think, and it would also make you have to like choose if you want to go the route with him or go the Andor route that's like more choppy with like or like Rutabi, right? That are way more fighty.
yeah. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised at the way they're costed because the rules still seem pretty good. You're getting still fight five, like phalanx with all D6. Like that's just a strong battle line, right? I guess I was expecting somewhat of a Corsair or Lake Town kind of
Mm.
nerf, uh, where something that was like insanely good last edition is now like borderline unplayable.
We'll see. I mean, Easterling's kind of lived and died by the heroes that they had last edition, and I think it's going to be the same way this edition. At least it's lining up that way. This profile is basically just an evil elf. You have
which
conditional fight five, sure,
which
and you
is
trigger
good.
for yeah, the elf they're really good. So and like a halberd is like the ultimate utility weapon, and it's only 1 point. So
and and elves with pikes, like that's
yeah,
annoying, right?
yeah, and like the fact that it's all like you said, 3 ranks of D6. So like it takes so long to hack through all that. So
Yeah. There's not a lot of two line of D6 walls nowadays.
yeah,
A lot of armies only have the D6 in the front, so
yeah.
yeah.
So this I I have a feeling this one's gonna squeak in there. There's definitely gonna be a couple builds of Easterlings that are gonna be quite competitive still.
I'm also interested because they're a separate profile now. This means the Dragon Emperor won't get the free Black Dragon upgrade thing anymore, right? Because they're not an upgrade. So is he going to get something else instead, or is that just gone? Because that was like a free 36 points, right?
Mhm. It had enough other buffs in the list. It doesn't need that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It'll be interesting, but from the looks of it, just their basic warrior model, I have a feeling we're all going to be seeing Easterlings still this edition.
Oh yeah.
The last little note here is that come back later in the week for more previews. So potentially more will be revealed soon.
Shout out to our awesome Patreon community. Check out Patreon for more details, which includes extra perks like extra content and custom dice. I also want to shout out our sponsors. Check out the Baron of Dice website for a wide range of dice, including for Middle-earth. And check out the Mithril Brush painting contest dedicated to Middle-earth. We're doing a giveaway for all patrons who've entered by the end of the year. Links in the description below.
Okay, well, this has been our breakdown of this week's reveals. Thank you all for watching, and thank you to our patrons for supporting us. And also thank you to Brandon. We'll see you guys next time.